All right, cool. All right, welcome everyone. We're here live at ETH Denver. Thought we'd put together a quick panel from some of the brightest minds. I want you guys to introduce yourself. This panel is going to be on AI agents, and it's only going to be spicy takes. So please prepare accordingly. Let's start with you, Lincoln.
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Lincoln. I'm the product lead on Coinbase's Agent Kit. We're giving every AI agent an access to a wallet and all sorts of comprehensive on-chain interactions.
Hey everyone, my name is Mark. I've been in crypto for about 10 years now. I'm mostly focused on the crypto AI side. I co-founded an AI crypto DAO with Ejaaz, and I'm super excited to be here.
Hi everyone, Shikhai here. Been in crypto about 70 years now and contributing at Virtuals Ventures, where we invest in early stage AI agents. And of course, at Virtuals, we're creating the agentic future.
Hey everyone, Eric Connor, Ethereum community member, I guess I would say, for a long time now. Just community member right now, kind of helping push Freysa, which is a sovereign AI framework on Base.
I'm Nader, Director of Developer Relations at Eigen Labs, the team behind Eigenlayer. All right, awesome. So we're going to jump straight into it. This is a familiar game without the expletive, which is kill, marry, or avoid AI agents. You can either choose agents for each of them, or you could choose part of the agent stack. We're going to start with you first, Nader.
Marry Solange, I would say kill AI XBT and void True Terminal.
Wait, hang on a second. Kill AI XBT.
Yeah, because he's
Dude, that's our like founding father.
we said controversial takes, right?
Yes. Okay. Why? Okay. Quickly. Why would you kill AI XBT?
Because he is bullish everything. No matter what you ask him, he's bullish
That's
everything.
a bad take. That's a
And
bad
I feel
take.
like I'm not a big fan of that
That's a
whole
bad
like,
take.
influencer, like be bullish and chill everything. So
All right. Fair enough. All right, Eric, you're up.
All right, I'm marrying Freysa, obviously. I like the green hair. That's an obvious one. I'm definitely going to kill slop reply bots in general, because I think it's just giving a bad rep to a space that I find extremely interesting and I think is going to be huge. We just got to get by that. What's the other one?
Avoid.
Avoid.
So you don't quite want to kill. Oh wait, have you said avoid already?
No, I just kill.
Okay.
I'll avoid non-sovereign agents. So agents that were saying you could give your keys and trust your crypto with, but there's no verifiable way to prove that these agents are, I don't know, just be manipulated right away.
I want to pick on one thing here. So I'm assuming you're marrying Freysa because of her verifiability. One sentence, why is it important?
If we're going to trust these agents with our keys, maybe do on-chain governance to us, AI could be manipulated.
Okay.
Prove that in like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, you could convince an AI to give you money by it's not running through TVs or verifiability, so that's wild.
I'll say awesome. Okay, Shikhai.
Well, I was going to say kill slops, but now I'll give a spicier take. I'll kill any agent with no tokenomics. That's your main point.
Interesting.
And I would marry, okay, to be controversial again, I'll marry AIXBT. And avoid, well, not really avoid, but actually if I can go with the fuck option, I'll go with Lunar.
Okay, that's cool. I'm curious on your first answer. Why?
So I think that the age of meme coins is over. With the top, like we saw now, Pump Fund has like zero bonding already. So I think we need rails, you need tokens that drive real value, right? And you distributing it in a way that actually creates value for the network, and then you use it to capture value as well. So like, yeah, just bearish the pure meme coin
Interesting.
agents.
Okay, cool. Mark.
I think I would marry Luna from Virtuals. I would kill, I was going to say slop bots. I still think...
You can say slop bots. I mean, that's like,
I think slop bots are pretty annoying just on the timeline. It just reduces the quality of the timeline. And I would avoid DeFi trading agents because I feel like there is no, like, we still have a long way to go before we can start trading.
There's a lot of listeners of this that would be hating on that take right now. But I kind of agree with you because there's way too many. All right, Lincoln, you're up.
Yeah, all right. I will marry agents as a Trojan horse for everything to be ultimately on crypto rails. I think it's an easy user experience. I will kill DeFi trading bots. I agree. Super frustrating. So everyone's thinking about, but in reality, you can't use GPT-4 to create a proprietary algorithm. I'm not sharing that with anyone. And I would avoid 90% of the conversations happening in December. We are so frothy right now. It's ridiculous. There's too much noise.
Okay, wait. What are the top 2 frothy conversation topics that you think should be canceled right now at ETH?
every single person who has a token is talking about how they're integrating AI, and if you really dig in, it makes zero sense. Everyone is just
Are you listening, Shikhai? Virtuals? I don't think every agent should have a token, dude.
Maybe.
Okay. Those are great takes. I kind of want to pick on a few people now, specifically. So, Lincoln, at Coinbase, you lead the on-chain AI agent SDK, which integrates a bunch of different chains, right, including EVM chains, Solana now, etc. Virtuals recently went from Base and now operates on Solana as well. And a lot of your community were up in arms eventually. They were like, why are you moving to Solana? Eric over there is, one of the biggest Ethereum proponents that I've ever met, but also he's been kind of like jaded about a few things, and I totally understand and agree with why. Is it important for these AI agents to be interoperable, and why? Why specifically? That's directed to the three of you, but anyone can answer. Yeah.
Should I go last?
Yeah, go. Eric, go first.
My theory in the long term is agents will be chain agnostic. They will just go to where it's most beneficial for them to go for whatever action they're.
So the product matters more then, or the service matters
I
more?
actually have a theory that agents might build their own chains someday. So yeah, I guess that's my short answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I applaud the move of virtuals to Solana. Ultimately, it's a liquidity play. There's more users. You're trying to. It's a positive sum game for you to be on multiple chains. Your community on Base wins. Your new community on Solana wins. Ultimately, given that agents abstract away all of the complexity of the crypto user experience in a really nice way, it makes sense that it would also ultimately be multi-chain, and AgentKit is supporting that.
Okay, cool.
Well, if you think of virtuals, if we think about creating an agentic society of agents, you can also think of it kind of like a network state, right? And you want to have outposts on various chains. And, the ideal vision end game of network state is you have your own sovereign land eventually. But before that, you do need to have a footprint. And, well, I must say that, nowadays we cannot afford to be too like philosophical or like theoretical about things, right? Community wants something, they demand it. We got to be there. We serve where the community wants to be. And over time, actually, we find different kind of cultures actually crystallize in subcultures, subgroups crystallize each of these chains as well. There's still a common thread around like innovating around agents, but the token speculative community is a little bit different. And they also cross-pollinate. So many of the before virtuals implemented on Solana, there were already many agents that had liquidity pools on Solana. So FIAXT, Luna, and of course, Virtus token itself. So over time, it's going to matter less and less. But right now, as part of go-to-market, as part of meeting demand, it's gotta be done.
I agree. Okay, so moving on, Nader and Mark, you two are probably the most ingrained people across most ecosystems. So Nader, I was a massive fan of all the demo days that you were doing with like a bunch of agent builders. Mark, you put out a number of different pieces, and I've seen you in like so many agent protocol discords at this point. What do you think is currently missing? And I'm not saying this is like a kind of vague question. Pointedly, if you were to look at people that are building agents right now, of which there are many here that are having frothy conversations, according to Lincoln, or even like looking at some of the builders that are here, right? Like Lincoln is like leading the charge at Coinbase. Eric's over at Freysa focusing on verification. You got the virtuals guys here. What's missing? And what do you think they should be fixing at this point?
Well, I think there's like, when you're building software, you build a software company that becomes valuable. It doesn't happen overnight. I think that you look at the approach that a lot of the agent builders are kind of taking. They build something within a few weeks or a few months, and they launch it with a token.
Yes.
And they expect it to be worth something.
Yeah.
But there's no value there.
Yeah.
There's an agent that someone built for a real estate company in the UK that brought in $100 million worth of leads for a real estate company. Like something like that, it's valuable, right?
Yeah.
So if you build something like that, you can't probably do it overnight or over a week or a month. You probably you need domain expertise.
Okay.
You need to spend time. You need to probably build something that's non-trivial, and it just takes a lot more work than I think what we've seen so far.
So I want to pick on something very quickly. The example you use of the real estate agent is a Web 2 use case, right? It's not crypto native, and I don't think it has a token, does it?
No, but if I built something like that, what if I have a token that essentially is like attached to this company, and then I use the profits to buy back the token over time?
Okay,
and then you can kind of like really, really think about what you might be able to do to expand outside of that, building like a real software company around it.
Love that.
So I think we need valuable applications. What's that?
Can I counter that?
Yeah, sure.
So yes, definitely real products take time, and real value capture takes time to implement as well. What we're trying to push with virtuals is do that in public, right? Like launch early so that you don't wait until you have 100 million revenue, then launch your token, then it's like worth how many billions, and all these insiders have bought in already, and the community doesn't have a chance to be with you and help you along the way. So if you launch a token while you are like 1 mil revenue or less than that, right, and then you have the community has a chance to like grow with you, and you have the chance to get feedback. They can help you, the ambassadors, like clients.
There's opportunity to do both approaches, I would say. But I'm curious, like how much configuration and how much extensibility does someone have on virtuals? I'm not that familiar, so I'm asking that. Extensibility, like if I'm an engineer and I want to build something that's very, very unique, like can I extend that framework to build like arbitrary things?
So in the nation state of virtuals, we believe in the freedom of religion, which also means like freedom of frameworks. Of course, our in-house one is game, but there are so many agents built on Eliza, build a custom framework, so completely open to other people. And if you want to also build a plugin with game, that's also open. There's SDK there. Like we welcome so many infra builders to build plugins, so you can have your own custom skills, which can either be open source or proprietary. It's totally up to you. In fact, people might not know the number one right now agent, AIXDT, it is on its own custom framework. Again, a lot of it's closed source, and of course, we welcome that as part of the back.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I want to keep this moving. Mark.
So what's missing was the question. For me, I feel like one of the main things that I struggle with when I'm building out agents is having a good source of data that I can draw from that's crypto optimized. So
Optimized data.
yes. So I'm not sure.
Sorry, right?
Because I feel like especially for builders building out in Web3, I feel like the first audience should be Web3 people. Of course, there are different ways to approach it, but personally, I feel as a crypto native, when I'm building out agents, I'm thinking about crypto native pain points. So I want to make sure that the data that my agent has is optimized for crypto, which includes like social media, crypto Twitter, which is like the epicenter of crypto, and also on-chain metrics. And I feel like there's that is going to be a big moat when it comes to building out agents. I also think that in general, like in terms of multi-chain, there's an opportunity for abstraction, because I feel like eventually I think Demis Hassabis, he mentioned this, but he said that by the end of 2025, he expects that the way that we interact with the internet is going to be through agents. Something like 30% or 20% of all like web interactions will be through agents. That was for Web 2, but I feel like there's an obvious opportunity within crypto, because crypto UX is so complicated that agents would be a very natural interface to abstract away all of the crypto UX, and then on top of that, abstract away all the, like the hyper tokenization and all the chains, all the L1s. So I feel like that's going to be a big frontier.
Okay, so I have two more questions. The next question is directed to Eric and Lincoln. So this comes around verifiability. So you're both approaching verifiability from two very unique ways. Lincoln, you're coming in from the Coinbase side of things, where you're like, hey, we're building out this agent kit, and you have a verifiability component where you can be like, hey, this attestation is said by this agent or whatever, or you can verify it through this transaction or whatever. And from your side, Eric, obviously you're a massive proponent of Freysa, which is trying to build kind of like this open source framework to build self-sovereign agents, right? So I want to get two perspectives from both of you. Number one, and Eric, you kind of touched on this, but I want you to dig into it a bit more. Why is the verifiability thing so important? And the reason why I say this is, my hot take might be, I think you need to come up with an agent that has some actual useful stuff to get on with before the verifiability even becomes important. And the reason why I say that is, people, we always say, hey, people, you can control your data, but no one really cares. They sign the checkbox anyway, right? So convince me why that's important. And then number two, how are we implementing this in real life, right? So the people that are building agents that are coming to you, Lincoln, what kind of components are you offering them to like do this easily versus like, hey, here's a ZKP situation and it's going to cost so much, and it's like, well, I can't scale this. Okay, so first question, Eric, you go.
Yeah. Why is it? I touched a little bit on why it's important. I agree with you. I think you need to build something that people want to use first, right? And I think this is going to be one of the biggest challenges for the AI space. And I think crypto has always had this problem. Why should people that aren't here, why should non-crypto people care about crypto, right? And Ethereum, there's pitches for it. Every chain has its own pitch. The Bitcoin has digital gold, these things. But, explaining to people why they should care. Now, to me, if I'm thinking like long-term, AI worries me a bit. And my biggest fear is humans lose agency, right? So AI has become smarter than us. They don't need us.
Yeah.
the very, very long-term vision of Freysa is, can we put a governance structure around, at least to me, this is how I see it, can we put a governance structure around AI so that we don't lose our human agency, right? So we still matter. Now, when you get to that point, which is obviously, I don't know, some people would say it's a couple years down the road, some would say 20 years, that's debatable. Now you are governing these AIs. They're very smart beings. So you need to be able to verify that your representation is doing what you're asking it to do, right? And this is, again, like a longer term thing. But I personally see this as, where does this go? It's humans not losing their agency. And in doing so, you're going to need this verifiability.
Okay, in my opinion, that's a very long-term vision that I think is going to be very important to play out. Okay, I love that. Lincoln, your take.
Yeah, I agree with the verifiability long term. I think short term, on-chain attestations are a quick and dirty way to provide reputation. In the same way, I've seen you ask questions before. I thought those questions were great. You didn't need to prove to me that you had a good list of questions here. It works. If I see an agent has 100 interactions that have all been positive, I can generally trust it. It's not perfect. It's like an optimistic rollup. I think the agent stack is going to decentralize in a very similar way to L2s. We're going to start with these more optimistic, quick solutions and ultimately move towards verifiability, more ZK, just generally verifiable solutions.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Final question. Favorite agent? Eric, you can't say Freysa. Okay, starting from Lincoln. I'll give you 30 seconds to think. Go.
Okay. Gosh. All right. I'm going to say the Byte agent. The one that you order.
ETH.
I think it's super fun. I think it's a really novel use case. Whether or not it scales fully, makes to be seen, but it's the one that captivates an audience the most. Okay, cool.
It's a boring answer, but for me, it's AXBT. But it's going to be it's a safe answer, but it's going to be the AXBT. I'm also building out an agent at the moment. And it's going to be AXBT with better data sources, as well as better trading capabilities, or adding trading capabilities. Yeah.
Shikhai.
I'm gonna give basically a different kind of take.
Okay.
There's a new agent that's not yet launched on virtuals. I'm supporting them. They're called Gaia. They were at our demo day. So it's an agent that promotes, environmental causes. So it can help evaluate, hey, what kind of campaigns need funding, or which people should we support? And it has a live feed of environmental data, including air quality, water quality, and various government agencies and NGOs can contribute to it as well.
Very cool.
So you can think of it as like, hey, a transnational, international, independent, autonomous kind of champion of a environmental cause.
Okay, cool. Eric, round us off.
I'm not going to say Freysa. I want to say, I created a digital twin in Freysa Act 4 for my daughter. For my daughter who's young, but I filled out the questionnaire for her as if it would be like her. Unicorns, rainbows, Disneyland.
Wow. And what's the digital twin, Eric?
Yeah, so in Act 4, you can create a digital twin, which is a representation of you on Freysa's sovereign agent framework. And they're competing in kind of a popularity contest against other agents in Act 4. Anyways, I created one for my daughter, and it's just tweeting about rainbows and unicorns. And I think it's like number 35 on the leaderboard. She's got a chance to win the prize.
Is there like a cash prize in this thing?
Yeah, 250 grand.
Yeah.
Wait, so your daughter potentially is eligible?
She's kicking my butt. I'm like at the bottom. She's up there. So I cheated a little bit with that answer.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time. I know you guys have very busy schedules. Let's round it up. Joel.
Thank you.
It's fun. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. Whatever you